the little girl accidentally discovered an unconscious elderly lady in the car. She quickly rushed over and checked her pulse. To her shock, the elderly lady had suffered a sudden heart attack. She immediately took out a heart-saving pill and placed it in the lady's mouth. This scene was witnessed by the returning bodyguard, who mistook her for causing trouble and asked her to leave. Unexpectedly, in the next second, the little girl saw that the elderly lady was recovering and hurriedly left. What the little girl didn't realize was that this small act of kindness would change her life forever, because the little girl was actually a young Taoist from the mountains, sent down by her master to seek a destined benefactor, to break her poverty fate as the temple could no longer support her. Little did she know that as soon as she descended the mountain, she would coincidentally save the unconscious old lady. Later, the little girl passed by a fortune-telling stall. She saw a Taoist deceiving a woman desperate for a child. The little girl immediately stopped the woman from paying, explaining that her inability to conceive after a year of marriage was due to her husband's infertility. She suggested the woman find a new husband. The Taoist, annoyed that his business was ruined, angrily asked where the girl had come from. The little girl revealed her master's name, which left the Taoist stunned. It turned out they had almost become fellow disciples. Seeing the Taoist meant no harm, the girl asked if he had any food. And so, the two impoverished people sat on the ground, eating steamed buns. Suddenly, a flash of headlights appeared, and hundreds of luxury cars drove toward them. The little girl realized it was the elderly lady she had saved earlier. To thank her for saving her life, the elderly lady offered $20 million in cash. The Taoist opened the suitcase, only to find the $20 million had turned into a single-dollar bill. He immediately sensed something was wrong. After asking the little girl, he learned about her poverty fate, which meant she was destined to be poor. The Taoist then suggested that the elderly lady adopt the little girl. Soon, they arrived at the elderly lady's home. After calling her son, the lady told the little girl to go directly to her father's office. Following the grandmother's instructions, the little girl went to the CEO's office, hugged his leg, and called him daddy. The CEO was utterly confused. At that moment, the lady called, telling him she had already completed the adoption paperwork. The CEO had no choice but to agree. The next morning, the little girl's eyes lit up at the sight of a table full of delicious breakfast. Just as her grandmother had said, being with her CEO father meant she could finally eat her fill. She devoured the food in no time. Suddenly, she noticed the CEO remained seated and didn't walk. The CEO explained that his legs were paralyzed. However, using her golden vision, the girl discovered that his legs were wrapped in a malevolent aura, not a disease. To find the source of the aura, she urgently asked the CEO to take her to his office. As soon as they arrived, she saw a sky full of malevolent energy, identical to that on the CEO's legs. She immediately realized someone was trying to harm him. She began inspecting the surroundings. Before long, she found a strange door. When she opened it, a mass of dark energy rushed toward her. She noticed a talisman stuck at the base of the door to shift fortunes. Quickly, she searched for the source of the aura, eventually identifying the center of an 8-trigram formation. Just as she was about to open the door, the CEO suddenly appeared and stopped her. The little girl hurriedly explained the truth. Surprisingly, the CEO didn't believe her, but seeing how confident she was, he reluctantly followed her to his cousin's office, a place brimming with auspicious energy. The little girl immediately cast a spell on the CEO's legs. Moments later, the CEO stood up from his wheelchair. The next day, they attended an auction. The staff presented a shabby wooden box and a golden box. The little girl instantly recognized the wooden box as a spiritual treasure, telling the CEO to bid on it. The cousin sneered, mocking them for not knowing its value, and decided to bid on the golden box instead. Both parties successfully won their respective boxes, but when the cousin confidently opened the golden box, he found a pile of worthless books. Meanwhile, the little girl opened the wooden box, revealing it was filled with rare treasures.